Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. We have quite a bit to talk about in the world of Southern California sports, and we have some breaking news as of late, as the Lakers have signed Darvin Ham to a 4-year hiring deal. How big is that for the Lakers, and can Darvin Ham bring home the bacon? And the Chargers just signed their first-round pick, Zion Johnson, as he will be protecting Justin Herbert to the best of his ability. And how about the LA Galaxy beating LAFC in the round of 16 matchup in the US Open Cup? Will the LA Galaxy be able to build off the momentum as they have Austin coming up this weekend? All that and more here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday depending on where you are listening from. Either way, we are here live with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, episode 49. Without any further delay, let's get on into that Southern California action. But first and foremost, we have a word from our sponsor. IE Sports Radio is proud to call the Southern California Warriors the official sponsor of IE Sports Radio. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organization. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed and trout for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get the second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can follow them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram at Southern California_Warriors, and on Facebook by typing in the word Southern California and then Warriors. And then IE Sports Radio is on Twitter and on Instagram at IE Sports Radio, and on Facebook by typing in the word IE, then Sports, then Radio. They also have a website, www.iesportsradio.com, where you could go there and find a link to the Patreon account, which starts at $5 a month. This will give you a shout from all 31 of our shows, and higher tiers will include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to IESRU, the podcasting university of IE Sports Radio, and even a chance to be featured on IE Sports Radio's flagship show, The Defining Moment with Larry B. Because for the past 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows across the country dedicated to all major sports cities. We also interview coaches and other authorized media personnel. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans and for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next biggest step. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all of that sports. Shout out to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised Apparel, Marcus Losgreat, Key to the Gate, and an anonymous supporter. Also, we have to give a shout out to iSports Radio's Fan of the Month, Justin Ekstrom. His Twitter is @thesportscrib21. He is a Minnesota Vikings fan hailing from Minnesota, which is where my boy Vince Wright, the sports governor, hails from. Shout out to X-Squad affiliates. And also, we would like to thank everyone for making iSports Radio's 8th anniversary super special. And if you listen to the 8-year anniversary special of The Defining Moment, salute to you. Here's to many more years to come. As we say, I'll also say hello to Adam Karnick in the chat room. He says, good evening, SoCal. Good evening to you too, Adam. Hope you are doing well in Chicago, as it is currently near 8 o'clock there. And Mike Pat says, Teran, have a great show, sir. Thank you, Mike. So now let's jump on into the Southern California sports action. We definitely have to start off with the Lakers because this was breaking news, as the Lakers did sign Darvin Ham to a contract deal, head coaching deal, 4 years, which it's really good that the Lakers signed Darvin Ham. It gives the Lakers a lot of fresh blood and youth, not only in their coaching staff. Again, I hate that Frank Vogel had to be shown the door because it wasn't really his fault, but Darvin Ham will bring a lot of youth. He has a lot of experience, and he was a part of the Milwaukee Bucks coaching staff, which won the NBA championship last year. I think this is a great hire for the Lakers, and I think they could build off this. I really think that they have that potential with Darvin Ham. It's just all about supplying the right players to surround their team with and for them to be coachable with. I really think that this hire can go far when it comes to the Lakers. Now, obviously, he can't build a championship team in one day. I think that it's going to take a little time for the Lakers to get back to being good like they were in 2020. But I think with Darvin Ham, I think he can turn the team around. So I definitely think he's going to be under a lot of pressure just because he's a young coach, but I definitely think we need to give him time. Give him time to know the Lakers, give him time to adapt to the new coaching environment. I want to say this is going to be his first ever head coaching job. Either way, he has a lot of shoes to fill, but I'm sure Darvin Ham's going to do a great job. I'm really certain he could do great things with the Lakers. And it's for 4 deals. Or, not 4 deals. 4 years. I definitely think that Darvin Ham can at least get the Lakers to the playoffs in one of those years. So, I'm confident with the Lakers hiring Darvin Ham as their new head coach. I really think he can basically get the Lakers back to the promised land, or at least into the play-in game. Either way, I'm not worried about everyone over speculating and saying, "Oh my God, this is a not so good hire." It's like, well, who do you want to hire? Do you want to hire Terry Stotts? Do you want to hire LeBron as the head coach? What do you want? So I'm totally fine with Darvin Ham being the head coach, and I think this was a home run hire for the Lakers as their head coach. Once again, I feel bad that Frank Vogel was shown the door, but I'm sure he'll find another coaching job ASAP. So that is pretty much that for the Lakers news right there. This was breaking news, broken by Adrian Wojnarowski, where he basically tweeted out that the Lakers had hired Darvin Ham as their new head coach to a 4-year deal. I really think that this deal is going to benefit the Lakers, and I think Darvin Ham is going to bring wonders to the Lakers, and I'm confident in him. In Ham we trust. And I'm confident that Darvin Ham will bring home the bacon one day. So that's that for the Lakers news. Let's jump over to the NFL, where the Chargers signed their first-round pick, Zion Johnson. And I was a little worried that the Lakers weren't going to get Zion Johnson signed. There was slim hope of me that Zion Johnson was going to have a holdout like Joey Bosa did back when he was drafted by the Chargers. So overall, I'm glad the Chargers locked up Zion Johnson with his rookie deal. Now they just have to sign Isaiah Spiller, and they also have to sign JT Woods. So for me, it's good that we get to see Zion Johnson be ready to block for Justin Herbert and keep him well protected. because it's great to keep your quarterback protected. And I honestly think that the Chargers hit I wouldn't say a home run, but I'm pretty sure it's near a home run when it came to drafting Zion Johnson. Just because the Chargers need offensive line help, and you definitely want to protect your quarterback. And they're also helping reload the offensive line and give Rashawn Slater, Corey Linsley, and a few others more reinforcements to protect Justin Herbert. So I really think that the Chargers are going to have great wonders with Zion Johnson, and I really hope that the Chargers can actually put it all together, because there's a lot of expectations for the Chargers, and that's my fear. I fear everyone's going to plant all these expectations for the Chargers, and then it's just going to backfire on them. I feel the Chargers do a little bit better when there's hardly any expectations, but now the Chargers know that this year they have no excuses to not do good. They have to do good this year. They at least need to make the playoffs. Some are saying that Justin Herbert is the favorite to win MVP this year, and that Brandon Staley has the second best odds of winning Coach of the Year. And that is quite a bit of a statement right there. I really did not expect everyone to give Justin Herbert the best odds of winning the MVP this year. Obviously, he had himself a big year. He threw for over 5,000 yards. He almost willed the Chargers to the playoffs, but unfortunately they fell short to Raiders. But it's all good because it's a learning experience. It's only his second year. I definitely think that Herbert's going to do better this upcoming season. It's funny because everyone was predicting Justin Herbert to have a sophomore slump, and it's it feels good to see people be wrong. Either way, I think it's going to be a fun season for the Chargers. It's going to be a competitive season in that AFC West, just because the Broncos are good, the Chiefs are good, and the Raiders are good. I feel filthy for saying that, but it really is the truth. The Raiders are definitely good. They've improved, and I think Derek Carr gets too much slander, in my honest opinion. I will be having a Chargers season prediction as well as a Rams season prediction in the coming weeks. I'll probably do the Chargers first because they're my team, and then I'll do the Rams. But I think it's a little too early to try to make those predictions, just because a lot can happen from now all the way until training camp or the first preseason game. So we'll see what happens with the Chargers going forward. I'm really liking their odds, though. I really want to see them back in the postseason. I want to see Justin Herbert get that chance to make the postseason and show his true potential, hopefully. So we'll see what happens this season. I'm not going to get too much into the NFL, but overall, the Chargers are looking really good. And I hope we can see them in the postseason. And I hope they can actually live up to their expectations and not, disappoint me. Because, once again, it's always the year when the Chargers get planted with so much expectations, and then they lay an egg this coming season. But I hope that is not the case this year. So that is that for the Chargers news. Now let's jump on into the sports, or the teams that are actually participating right now. So let's jump on into the MLS, where the LA Galaxy beat LAFC, except it doesn't count because it's for the US Open Cup. But hey, it's another El Tráfico win. So this match happened, I want to say it was yesterday, if not the day before. Either way, yeah, it was Wednesday, where the Galaxy defeated LAFC 3-1. It was actually held at Dignity Health Sports Park, where the Galaxy played, or as us old schoolers like to call it, the StubHub Center. I still like StubHub Center better, but I digress. So the Galaxy really dominated LAFC. They scored, it was 0-0 at halftime, and then Kevin Cabral scored the first goal for the Galaxy. Javier Hernandez scored 6 minutes after that. Then Dejan Hovlahich scored to give the Galaxy a 3-0 lead in the 81st minute. LAFC scored 4 minutes after as Ryan Hollingshed scored in the 85th minute. And despite there being more extra time, I think it was 5 minutes extra time, the Galaxy held on to win 3-1. Surprisingly, the Galaxy didn't even have that much possession. They only had 46% of possession, whereas LAFC had 54%. The shots were basically in favor of the Galaxy, as they had 17 shots, while LAFC had 10 shots. 9 shots for the Galaxy were on goal, while LAFC only had 1 shot on goal, which was their lone goal of the game. There were a combined 5 yellow cards between both teams. There were no red cards, surprisingly. And the stat that really came up that boggled my mind was that the Galaxy had 8 corner kicks compared to LAFC's 2, which, that's a little concerning if you're LAFC, I'm not going to lie. It's like, how do you allow only 8 corner kicks, and then how do you only get 2 in return? It's like, what are you doing, LAFC? Thankfully, it's just a U.S. Open Cup matchup, so it's nothing to be overly concerned about, but if you're LAFC and you face LA Galaxy again, you have to be motivated because you got thrashed this go-around. Like, the first time, the Galaxy barely won by the skin of their teeth, and because of VAR. This time around, you were down 0-3 on the road. It's gotta sting if you're LAFC. Either way, I don't think the LAFC needs to worry about this too much. They have to just flush this loss down the toilet and move on to their matchup tomorrow against San Jose. This will be played at US Bank Stadium, not US Bank Stadium, Bank of California Stadium. I keep getting that stadium mixed up with another stadium, but Bank of California Stadium is where LAFC and San Jose will be taking each other on. I expect LAFC to bounce back and win this matchup just because San Jose is 11th while LAFC is still on top of the Western Conference. They're 2 points ahead of Austin, which is definitely a great thing to see if you're LAFC, despite some most recent losses such as to Austin as well as Colorado. But outside of that, they were victorious against Columbus last Saturday. They won 2-0, which, it's a good road win, honestly. I mean, Columbus, no offense to any Columbus Crew fans, but Columbus is not good this year. I'm sorry to say, but Columbus Crew is not good. It took LAFC a little while to score, as they got on the board with a penalty kick from Carlos Vela in the 62nd minute. And then Jose Cifuentes scored 11 minutes after that. Other than that, LAFC was able to stand their ground, and they were able to stop Columbus Crew's 3 shots on goal. So, there you go. That's how LAFC defeated Columbus Crew. So like I said, this weekend, LAFC is back home against San Jose. They should win that matchup. My only concern is that could be a trap game just because next week LAFC has Seattle on the road. And that's kind of a rivalry game. I know Seattle has not been that great, but LAFC loves its little rivalry with Seattle. Their rivalry goes back to like playoff matchups. Then it also goes back to like other tight and contested games. So all in all, for LAFC, they just got to stand their ground. They are the number 1 team in the Western Conference, so there is that dangling above their heads. And they have a big target on their back, so they have to be careful here. As we say hello to Davidson Crooks in the chat room, he says, what's good? Just talking some SoCal sports. I actually also talked about the Lakers signing Darvin Ham, and I pretty much echoed Davidson's statements on Twitter, that the Lakers signed some new fresh blood, and they've got some youth as their head coach, and I really think that the Lakers hit a home run when it came to hiring Darvin Ham. And I'm pretty sure Ham will lead the Lakers back to the promised land. It's just all about surrounding Ham with the tools and players to help make his team that much better. But time will tell if the Lakers will mesh well under Coach Darvin Ham. Back to the MLS, where the Galaxy, like I said, they defeated LAFC on Wednesday. They have a big matchup against Austin FC on Sunday. This will be played at Dignity Health Sports Park, which to me, it's a huge matchup for the Galaxy just because they beat Austin on the road 1-0, which I find rather impressive. Now, obviously, Austin has drastically improved so much. They're only in their second year, and they are the second best team in the Western Conference. They are 2 points behind LAFC, and one of their 3 losses came against the Galaxy, obviously. For the Galaxy, this is kind of their true test matchup, just because, well, if they want to get back to being one of the best in the West, they kind of have to take down one of the best in the West, as in Austin. And while the Galaxy have 20 points, they are currently 5th in the Western Conference, which I kind of find a little concerning, just because the Galaxy, I think, are much better than that. They just have had a couple stinging losses. One of which came against the Houston Dynamo, which they lost 3-0 to last Sunday, and I was like, ooh boy. Excuse me. So, something that I actually noticed on Twitter, and this was courtesy of Damian Calhoun, who covers the LA Galaxy, is that the LA Galaxy have allowed goals in the 11th minute, which is rather eerie. So, when it comes to the 11th minute, the Galaxy suck when it comes to defending that shot on goal when it comes to the 11th minute. So, overall, that's something the Galaxy need to tweak. But I'm rather disappointed that the Galaxy lost to Houston. I mean, Houston's a solid team. I don't think Houston's a bad team. They're in that cusp of the top 7. But to lose 3-0 on your home turf, that's just disgusting, dude. You can't do that. It's one of those matches which could come back to haunt you. And the Galaxy have kind of had some questionable results outside of that Austin win. They lost 3-1 to Dallas. Their match after the Dallas match, they tied against Minnesota 1-1. And then they, like I said, they recently lost to the Dynamo 3-0. Now, obviously, everyone's going to be sipping on the Kool-Aid, saying, well, the Galaxy just beat LAFC. Why are we panicking about that? Well, that matchup didn't really mean anything for the MLS standings. That matchup means squat. Now the Galaxy have to get back to reality, where they have to play their MLS matches as they play Austin, which is going to be a very tough matchup. I really think that Austin's going to bring it this go-around. I don't think the Galaxy are going to shut out Austin like they did the first meeting. If the Galaxy do, then boy howdy, then something's up with the Galaxy. They are definitely up and down, with the emphasis of being down when it comes to their MLS games. Overall, I think the Galaxy still have a great team. It's just all about, actually showing up when it truly matters the most. I really think the Galaxy have what it takes to make the playoffs and maybe make a deep run. My only qualm is the goalie play. The goalie play seems to always let down the Galaxy every single time, and I don't see how the Galaxy continue to make this mistake year in and year out. I know goalies aren't as rare as years past, but overall, there is no golden goalie, in my opinion. But for me, it's how do you keep making the mistake of not having the best goalie every single year? It's is this team just cursed with goalies? The Chargers are cursed with kickers? that's kind of my question. That's my burning question in my honest opinion. So, we'll see. But if the Galaxy do win the U.S. Open Cup, it would be quite something. But it wouldn't mean all that much. It's like the Dallas Cowboys winning on Thanksgiving. But that's just my opinion. So Austin is going to be their little matchup coming up. They play Sacramento in the U.S. Open Cup in the quarterfinals on Tuesday, June 21st. So they don't have to worry about that for a while. Speaking of for a while, the Galaxy after Sunday won't have to play until June 18th, which is a Saturday, and that actually is going to be nationally televised, which is kind of cool. And that matchup will feature the Galaxy taking on the Portland Timbers. Now, the Timbers have always been that sneaky good team perennially when it comes to the Western Conference. I feel the Galaxy have what it takes to take down Portland, but Portland can be sneaky good against some of these big boy teams. It all depends on which LA Galaxy shows up. We either get the night Galaxy, which doesn't show up, or we get the day Galaxy, which basically shows up and makes everybody wonder if the Galaxy are true MLS Cup contenders. So that's basically my little spiel on the Galaxy. Right now, their focus is only on Austin. They have to come up big against Austin. If they do, then that's going to be a big momentum booster going into this little break. And it gets them even closer and closer to moving up in the Western Conference standings. After this matchup, they'll only have a grand total of 22 matches remaining all the way up till October. So the season has been flying by, honestly, and I'm going to be honest, the playoffs could be around the corner, and the Galaxy need as many wins as possible. Same with LAFC, even though LAFC has been dominating for the most part. So, while the Galaxy are winning their U.S. Open Cup matches, they need to win the matches that truly matter the most. Their MLS matches. If the Galaxy win the U.S. Open Cup, awesome. But if they don't, then it's no big deal. I'd rather see the Galaxy in the postseason than winning the U.S. Open Cup and not making the postseason. So that is that for the MLS portion of the show. Let's jump to some NWSL, and then we'll take ourselves a little breaky break, as my voice is starting to get shot already, but that's a me problem. So, jumping over to Angel City FC, they won their most recent game against Kansas City, winning 1-0, courtesy of Taylor Leach, who scored an own goal. So, overall, it was a great win. Angel City FC really came up big. I knew they would beat Kansas City just because Kansas City isn't really one of the most better teams. They have yet to win a match, which, oof. As currently, Angel City is ranked second in the NWSL standings, which I think is really impressive. They're 3-1 with no draws, so technically they're 3-0-1. 3 wins, 0 draws, 1 loss. And I think that's really cool. I like that an expansion team is doing well. As Angel City FC's next matchup will be against Louisville. Louisville was the lone team to hand San Diego its first loss of the season. And Louisville is right behind Angel City FC. So this is going to be a huge game for Angel City FC. I really hope that Angel City FC plays Gotham. My apologies. That's Kansas City that plays Louisville, which I think Louisville's going to steamroll, but that's just my take. But Angel City remains at home against the New Jersey/New York Gotham, which will be on Sunday. Currently, Gotham rests 10th in the NWSL standings, which I think Angel City should be able to handle quite nicely. However, they can't take them lightly. I think Angel City FC, much like the Galaxy and LAFC, have to really be serious about this. There's plenty of time for them, even though the season hasn't really reached the halfway point like the MLS has, but honestly, I think Angel City should be able to handle Gotham. The schedule does start to pick up a little as they start to face the experienced teams from the NWSL, such as the Portland Timbers, the Houston Dash, and then they've got Louisville, which is going to be huge down the stretch. The previous two teams that I just mentioned, Portland and Houston, Portland is not really that great. They're 8th in the regular season standings. Houston, on the other hand, is pretty good. They are 4th in the NWSL standings. So as long as Angel City FC doesn't look that far ahead, they should be fine. I mentioned the San Diego Wave FC continues to do big things as they just recently beat Carolina 1-0. Now, Carolina, the North Carolina Courage, is not good. They're dead last in the NWSL standings, so I shouldn't really be overly surprised. But the woman, the myth, the legend, Alex Morgan scored for the San Diego Wave in the 41st minute, which was awesome sauce. And it's always great to see Alex Morgan continue to do great things for not just the U.S. team, but for San Diego as well. I'm really happy that Alex Morgan is on Wave FC. I really think that is awesome. And I'm happy to see San Diego is doing really well. It's high time we get a team from San Diego that's actually living up to expectations. Chargers. I digress, though. But anyway, so the Wave will remain on the road as they take on OL Reign, which will be played at Lumen Field. I want to say, isn't that in Seattle or something? I'm not 100% certain, but Lumen Field really brings... Yeah, Lumen Field is in Seattle, so OL Reign must be from the Northwest area. So San Diego, like I said, they are on the road against OL Reign on Sunday. And that basically concludes their May schedule. They do have Washington to start off the June schedule. Actually, no, not the June. They have Kansas City to start off the June schedule next Saturday. Then they have Portland in the middle of the week on Wednesday. And then they've got OL Reign again the following Sunday. And then they've got Gotham. So currently San Diego, like I said, they rest atop of the NWSL standings, which is really cool. Their only blemish to the season was against Louisville, which, again, Louisville is really good. They are very good as advertised, despite a 2-win, 2-draw, 1-loss record. I really think for a new expansion team, San Diego is doing really well. And keep in mind that San Diego, I hate to say this, the city of San Diego, when it comes to sports, is snake-bitten, but I digress on that. I hope San Diego Wave does become that team to break through and win the NWSL and to bring home a championship to San Diego. It's high time we see San Diego actually bringing home a championship. No more of this San Diego is cursed thing, and we can finally rub it in Dean Spanos' face. I'm sorry I had to bring it up, but he did San Diego dirty, kind of like how Will Smith did Chris Rock dirty when it came to the Oscar Awards. So that's just my little thing right there. I just wanted to be funny right there. So overall, that's my little spiel on the NWSL. I'm glad to see that San Diego and Angel City are doing well. So we'll see what happens going forward. There's still a lot of season left. And by a lot, I mean maybe 2/3 of the way there. Maybe less than that. More than that. Maybe. Don't know. But I am looking forward to seeing more success from San Diego Wave FC as well as Angel City FC. And I'm really proud of both teams. I hope they can continue their surge through the NWSL. I would be very happy to see either one of those teams bringing home the NWSL Cup. So that's that for the NWSL roundup right there. We're going to take ourselves a quick little break. Give my voice a little bit more time to recover. When we come back, we'll be talking some MLB action, and then we'll be just having the Dum Dum of the Week award because it doesn't look like there's much else to talk about in the world of Southern California sports, even though I said there was quite a bit to talk about. I talked about the Lakers, I talked about the Chargers signing Zion Johnson, and then I talked about the soccer teams in Southern California. Either way, we'll take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, more Southern California sports action. You're listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
What's up, sports fans? Are you looking for the latest on Northern California sports? Then take a trip out west with me, your host, Gina G, on Reppin' the NorCal Sports, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'll be bringing it to you all the way live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's always a packed show. I'll bring you everything Dynastic 49ers, the bite of the San Jose Sharks, torture of the San Francisco Giants, the Golden State Warriors that we still believe. Then take you across the bay to the rise and grind of the Oakland A's. I've got you covered on college ball from the Cal Bears to the Stanford Cardinal, so that no matter what, reppin' in NorCal sports is always reppin' the Bay. So if you bleed red and gold, or you're looking to keep an eye out west in them thar hills, don't miss me, Gina G, on reppin' in NorCal sports. Catch me every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'll have your fandom repped harder than a trio of defenders guarding Stephen Curry before his buzzer beater is Gucci.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Back with segment number 2 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all those amazing shows. Definitely check out Reppin' the NorCal Sports, Fast Break, Chi-Town Weekly, Philly Sports Talk, and Gloves Off. Because all of those shows are amazing, as well as our other shows on IE Sports Radio. All of our shows are freaking outstanding. You definitely should check them out. Also check out one of my other shows, Set Point, that I do every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Shameless plug, by the way. Either way, let's get back into the Southern California sports action. Let's discuss some MLB action. Actually, no, we'll save that for later. We'll discuss the WNBA just because the Sparks, ever since they won their first 2 games of the season, they have been in a bit of a slump. Some of their losses have been coming in close fashion. Like I said, last week they lost to the Atlanta Dream, which was their first loss of the season by 2. They lost to the Lynx by 3. They lost to the Storm by 3. They beat the Mercury recently, 99-94. And then, as of right now, they lost to the Indiana Fever, 101-96. So the Sparks have been kind of right there. They only have two bad losses of the season. They lost to the Las Vegas Aces, 104-76. Oof. And then they lost to the Connecticut Sun, 77-60 on Saturday, May 14th. Double oof. So the Sparks have just not. They have kind of cooled off after their first 2 games this season. And losing to the Fever doesn't really leave a good taste in my mouth, just because the Sparks beat the Fever in their second game of the season. But I guess that game could have most likely been, it was too early in the season to tell what the Fever were as of that time. Right now, currently, the Fever going into that game was 2-7. So, once again, it's one of those leave a bad taste in your mouth games, as the Sparks were led by Nneka Ogwumike, who had 30 points. She just continues to be a force, and she also had 10 rebounds. So, I just don't understand how Ogwumike can post those big numbers, and then the Sparks still don't win. It's got to be frustrating for her, and I really hope that the Sparks can get it together. I know it's super early in the WNBA season, but overall, I think the Sparks need that spark. Someone who has been making a spark for the Sparks is Katie Lou Samuelson, as she had 19 points. I think she is flourishing really well. I think she has done great things for the Sparks, and honestly, I think signing her from the Chicago Sky was the best thing for the Sparks to do. Because now she's back in Southern California, where she grew up, and she made a name for herself. And overall, I really think she's going to flourish very, very well, and the sky's the limit for her. Now, obviously, she hasn't really played a whole lot. Like, in the most recent game against the Aces, she played 22 minutes, but her numbers weren't that great. She had only 10 minutes in the loss to Seattle, and then she also had 9 points in the loss to the Lynx. So, I really want to see... Well, and she had 17 points against the Mercury in the most recent one. So, Katie Lou Samuelson's 2 games that her most recent games, her past 2 games, have been great as of late. And I really hope Derek Fisher does insert her into the lineup and then just rotates her and builds the offense around her. I think she could give Nneka a little bit of a boost offensively. Obviously, those 2 players alone cannot carry the Sparks to victory night in and night out. They need other players to step up, such as Liz Cambridge, if I'm pronouncing her name right, Jordan Canada, and then they also need Lexi Brown to step up as well. So, again, it's still early in the season. We're 9 games into the season, and there's still plenty of time for the Sparks to get it together. They currently rest 4th in the Western Conference, which isn't bad. Like, if the playoffs started today, they'd be playing Las Vegas in the first round. We already know that would be a complete nightmare. Like, the WNBA playoffs are a bit more easy to make as opposed to the NBA playoffs. But overall, I think that the Sparks have plenty of time to mesh with one another. And these close losses are going to help the Sparks learn. This is all about them closing out. Like, even their win against the Chicago Sky was a little iffy just because they needed overtime, and they were up, and then they were down, and then they had to go OT, and then they just were able to just sneak one out of there. They had that big burst in overtime where they spoiled Candace Parker and the Sky's championship ring ceremony, which I think is still pretty funny. I think maybe the Sparks may be pissed off the WNBA gods. I don't know. Or goddesses. I don't know. But overall, I'm not concerned about the Sparks and their early struggles. I would like to see more Katie Lou Samuelson, not just because she's a Southern California product, but I think that she has what it takes. I want to say she was like a top 5 pick back when the Chicago Sky drafted her. I'd have to double check on that and confirm it for next week's show. But overall, if But overall, I think having Katie Lou Samuelson would be huge in terms of stepping up. I really would like to see her step up and try to take some of the pressure off of NECA. So we'll have to see what happens with the Sparks going forward and what that science experiment looks like. So that is that for the WNBA portion of the show. Now let's jump on into the MLB. So remember how last week when I said the Dodgers were in a bit of a slump? Oh boy, that aged pretty well. I'm just kidding. It did not age well, as the Dodgers are currently back on track when it comes to dominating some of these teams. They took 2 out of 3 against the Nationals this past week. They beat the Nationals in Game 1, 10-1 on Monday, then 9-4 on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they had a complete tragedy of a game as they lost 1-0 to the Nationals, as despite having the same number of hits as the Nationals, they just could not find that big run, which is blech. The Dodgers also took 2 out of 3 against Philadelphia this past weekend. The Dodgers beat the Phillies last Friday 4-1, and they beat the Phillies 7-4 on Saturday. And then this Sunday loss really left a huge bad taste in my mouth. This loss might go down as one of the worst or most Dodgers way to lose games for the Dodgers. They lost in super typical Dodgers fashion. They lost 4-3 in 10 innings. And it was 2 outs, and all the Dodgers needed was 1 more out. And I think one of the Phillies players hit a ground ball to Max Muncy. All he needed to do was field it clean and then throw the runner out. It didn't work out. It was a complete error on Max Muncy's part. And then that wound up scoring 1 runner, and then it scored another runner. And that was the game right there, which was completely disappointing. And it's like, how do you ruin that? Oh my good golly gracious, that was just so painful. I feel bad for Max Muncy. I kind of wanted to give him Dum Dum of the Week, but I'm not going to, just because it's not all his fault. Like, the poor guy had a bit of a slip up, and I feel bad for him. So, overall, it's one of those live and learn moments for Max Muncy. He shouldn't have to worry about it too much. I will give the Dodgers this. Last week, they swept the Diamondbacks in a 4-game series. Last Monday, they beat the Diamondbacks 5-4. Then in a doubleheader, they won 7-6 and 12-3 last Tuesday. And then last Wednesday, they beat the Diamondbacks 5-3. So this weekend, they are playing the Diamondbacks. Yesterday, they beat the Diamondbacks 14-1. As they pretty much just trounced it. They had 24 hits. Heck, even I probably got a hit against the Diamondbacks yesterday. Like, big woof. It seems like the Dodgers always have their breakout game and their explosion game offensively against the Diamondbacks, which I kind of think is funny, but my biggest concern for that is that the Dodgers could run out of hits when they truly need it. So, the Dodgers currently play the Diamondbacks in about 10 minutes, as currently right now it is 6:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Then they play the Diamondbacks on Saturday at 4:15 p.m., and then they play the Diamondbacks on Sunday at 1:10 p.m. These games will be all played in Arizona, so just got to get that out of the way as well. Following that series, the Dodgers have a 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then next week, starting on Thursday, going all the way to next Sunday, they have a huge series against the New York Mets. And that is going to be big time just because the Mets currently lead the NL East. And they lead it by quite a bit. They're up by a whopping 7.5 games over the Phillies and the Braves. Woof! So the Dodgers should salvage as many wins as possible from these bottom feeder teams because the schedule starts to pick up, starting with the Mets. The White Sox shouldn't be too big of a problem so long as the Dodgers don't, Dodger their way out of a win. And then, obviously, the Dodgers play the Giants, which is going to be huge right there, following the series against the White Sox. And then the Dodgers have the Angels, which is another big-time matchup just because the Angels are also trying to fight for wins as well because they're having a good season too. The schedule doesn't start to lighten up until the Dodgers play the Ohio teams, the Cleveland Guardians and the Cincinnati Reds. Then they play the Braves, but I don't think the Braves will be bad for too long just because I think they're starting to pick up a little steam. And then obviously they have the Rockies, which haven't really been good, but not really great. Like they've suddenly cooled off, and this seems to always happen to the Rockies. They always start off blistering hot, and then they find ways to just cool off and just look like complete dum-dums. And then closing out the month of June, the Dodgers play the Padres, which is going to be huge. I would not be surprised if they were on Sunday Night Baseball, but they're not. But I'm very sad as Marcus Vitelli pops in the chat room. He says, "What's up, Teran? Have a great show, man." And he agrees with my Braves comments. I definitely have to give the Braves the tip of the cap. If you haven't heard Marcus's show, Peach Talk Sports, definitely do check it out. It goes live every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon p.m. Eastern Time. I definitely think the Braves will eventually start to find their fire. Like, it's probably just a World Series hangover. And it happens to the best of teams. It always happens with the championship teams. And obviously the Braves got hit hard in terms of free agency. So they need a little time to recuperate themselves, get back to it. But as the old saying goes, the MLB is a marathon, not a sprint. It's not like that one year where it was 62 games? Yeah, 62 games where everyone needed to win as much as possible, and one win or loss could make or break your season. So there's that right there. And overall, we're kind of in the infancy stages of the MLB, but I think it's looking very promising for the Dodgers. Speaking of the NL West, the Padres have been also doing solid as well, except as of recently, they lost a whopping 2 out of 3 against the Milwaukee Brewers. They did salvage that one win on Monday against the Brewers in extra innings, winning 3-2. They lost to the Brewers on Tuesday, 4-1, and then they lost to the Brewers on Wednesday, 2-1. Last weekend was a successful weekend for the Padres as they swept their NL West rival, the San Francisco Giants, which I was really impressed by. They beat the Giants in 10 innings, 8-7 last Friday. Last Saturday, they beat them 2-1, and then last Sunday they won by a whopping 10-1, which I was very impressed. I did not think the Padres had it in them, considering they don't have Fernando Tatis Jr., but I really think that is a big series right there. I'm very surprised that they did not have as much success against the Brewers as they did against the Giants, but maybe the Giants are just having that breakout game hangover from last year, but I digress. The Brewers, on the other hand, are always a good team. They're perennially good, and I can see why the Padres kind of struggled against them. Maybe the Padres just got a little too high on that win, and they just need to be in that middle, so we'll see what happens. And then the Padres took 2 out of 3 last week against the Phillies. They won the first game on Tuesday 3-0. They lost the second game 3-0 last Wednesday. And then last Thursday, the Padres won 2-0. Marcus says in the chat room, the West is stacked like every year. Always tough to win that division. Oh, he could not have said that any better. And honestly, last year was definitely the main year right there, as even the Dodgers had trouble keeping pace with the Giants. It got to the point where they almost caught up to the Giants, but unfortunately the Giants just did enough to lock up that 1 seed, and then when it came playoff time, the Giants crumbled to the Dodgers. No offense to Giants fans, of course, but you know what happened. So the Padres, this weekend, after their day off from yesterday, they have a 3-game series at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then following that series, they have a 3-game series against the Cardinals. And then next week they have a 4-game series, starting on Thursday and going all the way till Sunday against the Milwaukee Brewers. That Brewers series is going to be quite big, and the Cardinals series is going to also be just as big. Just because the Cardinals aren't doing too terrible, they're second in the Central behind the Brewers, the NL Central. So if the Padres want to keep pace with the Dodgers, they're going to have to start winning the games that truly matter. They can't just keep playing the Pirates and the Reds and the Phillies every week. They have to beat some of these other teams, because when it comes that time to play the Dodgers, they're going to have to be ready to pull up or shut up, because the Dodgers are already looking like the class of the National League, but it's still pretty early in the series. Like, as of right now, they're the only NL West team to reach 30 wins. I wish they were the only team in the MLB to reach 30 wins, but unfortunately the Yankees have that category locked up. So overall, the Padres are still doing rather great, despite not being 100%. I really think that the Padres have that potential to make the playoffs after that disappointing end of the season last year. It's just all going to depend on, can they beat up on the teams that they're supposed to beat on. So we'll see what happens. I don't expect the Giants to be in too much of a slump, because they have been battling injuries, and no one should be riding off the Giants anytime soon. Kind of like how no one should be riding off the Braves, so that's just my little opinion, but I just gotta give credit where credit's due. And then rounding off the baseball news, we have the Angels. So the Angels have kind of been the up and down team of Southern California. They've had their ups and downs, and I really think they're still doing good. They're currently 27-19, which isn't bad. Good enough for second place. My only qualm is that they're second in the AL West, and they're 2.5 games behind the Astros. Currently, they have started a 4-game series against the Blue Jays. Yesterday, a 4-game home series against the Blue Jays. Yesterday, they lost 6-3, which I thought was a bummer. They are about to square off against the Blue Jays right now. They split a 2-game series against the Texas Rangers this past week. They won 5-3 on Tuesday, and they lost 7-2 on Wednesday. And then last weekend, they won 2 out of 3 against the Oakland A's, winning 4-2, or losing 4-2 last Friday, and then winning 5-3 on Saturday, and then 4-1 on Sunday. So, like I said, currently the Angels are playing the Blue Jays in a 4-game series. They lost the first game yesterday. Then they get Monday off following that series, and then they have a 2-game series against the Yankees starting on Tuesday and going all the way till Thursday. That Yankee series is going to be tough, especially since it's at Yankee Stadium, and that's going to be a living nightmare for the Angels. The schedule does begin to loosen up a little as they have the Phillies on the road next weekend. But then after that Phillies series, they have a 4-game homestand against the Boston Red Sox, which I think has been the hot team. Then the schedule really picks up with facing the Mets following the Red Sox series, and then they have the Dodgers. The good thing about facing the Mets is that they're going to be at home, and then they only have to go up the 405 when it comes to facing the Dodgers, which isn't too bad. It's only a 2-game series, by the way. And then, personally, they also have the Mariners in a 5-game series. They play the Mariners in a doubleheader on Saturday, which I think is going to be challenging. I wouldn't count out the Mariners, even though the Mariners are struggling immensely, but I still think that the Angels have to win those games that truly matter. Because if they want to beat playoff teams, they have to beat up on the teams that are currently struggling. If they give any team some sort of life, you can kiss your playoff hopes goodbye. Because every one of my friends that is not an Angels fan says the Angels always find a way to come back down to earth after a successful start. I want the Angels to shut those people up and prove to them that that theory is no longer true. This is a different Angels team. Their pitching isn't as garbage as it has been in the past. Throw that theory away. And Mike Trout is still doing good, as well as Shohei Ohtani. So that is that for the Angels, Padres, and Dodgers. And that's pretty much that for the sports talk. Before we head on out of here, we do have to give out the Dum Dum of the Week award. So the Dum Dum of the Week is basically an award I give out to an organization or a person. It could be about anybody. It could be about anyone, anything. No one is safe from the Dum Dum of the Week award, not even myself. And speaking of myself being Dum Dum of the Week, I get the mini Dum Dum of the Week because I decided to not check the date when it came to something important that I had to do, or that I thought was today. Marcus adds, I like to see the Angels do well, as also I always secretly like the Angels. Ah, you're too kind, Marcus. I'd like to see the Angels do really well as well. But back to the Dum Dum of the Week. So I get the mini Dum Dum of the Week just because I thought something was today, but it clearly was not. As everyone knows, I am the host of Set Point. Unfortunately, I did not know that the NVA's event number 3 started tomorrow and not today. Now, today is obviously Friday, and normally the NBA does their events every Friday, then Saturday, then Sunday. But this week they're doing it Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which, okay, why are you doing it on a holiday weekend? And do you know that traffic is going to be a nightmare going up to San Bernardino? So, back to me. I shouldn't have assumed that. I should have checked the date on which was the correct day of when event number 3 was going to start. I thought event number 3 started today, and then I realized, oh wait, today's the 27th and not the 28th. Facepalm. So, I really was a bit of a fool for thinking that. In my defense, I didn't know that the NBA was going to have a 3-day weekend, was going to be a part of the 3-day weekend with it being on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. However, what I want to know is, who has a sporting event on a 3-day weekend? I get it. People will be off work and maybe off school and whatnot. However, what I don't get is, do you really want people fighting in traffic going down to San Bernardino? Yes, I guess leave early, but for that whole day? Oh, that's going to be a nightmare. But for me, I am the mini Dum Dum of the Week just because I decided to assume that the NVA's event number 3 was going to start today and not tomorrow. And I should have checked my calendar on what was right and what was wrong. And I was wrong. So I'm the mini Dum Dum of the Week. And I was going to be the Dum Dum of the Week had the Warriors not beaten the Mavericks in 5. If I made a little wager with Marcus Los Great in the Fast Break chat room, I said if the Warriors sweep the Mavericks, I will eat being incorrect on my show, SoCal Supreme Sports Show. That's because I don't talk about basketball on Set Point, but I digress. So, speaking of the Warriors and the Mavericks, now it's time to hand out the actual Dum Dum of the Week award. Oh boy, and this does have to do with the Mavericks and the Warriors. So, a lot of people like to have so many different claims. A lot of these sports heads, or the talking heads in the sports media, love to basically make bold predictions. They love to basically go against the wind, and they love to basically stir the pot and make people wonder, oh, this guy's making a bold prediction. So, this one news media person, Nick Wright, decided to make probably the boldest and most foolish prediction out there. He said, get this everybody, he said he had the Dallas Mavericks winning, get this, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you need to hear this. Nick Wright had the Mavs winning in 5. Let me say that again. Nick Wright, with his show on like ESPN or FS1, or I don't care where Nick Wright is on, but Nick Wright said that he had the Mavs winning the series against the Warriors in 5. Okay, first of all, the Mavs didn't win the series. They actually lost in 5. Second of all, you're really going to bet against Steph Curry, the baby-faced assassin. Oof. I know it's a bold prediction. I know the Mavericks were coming off of a huge series win against the Phoenix Suns, but there was no way they were going to beat the Golden State Warriors. I admit, the Warriors they have been playing really well. Steph Curry has been a beast. Klay Thompson has been a beast. Draymond Green has been a dynamo defensively. And this is all without Gary Payton II. But I just don't understand why anyone would pick against the Warriors. I get it. The Mavericks have Luka Doncic. But keep in mind, this is the same Dallas Mavericks team that has been snake-bitten for quite a bit. Like, this was the first time they've actually sniffed playoff success. Remember the past few seasons? The past 2 seasons, when it came to the playoffs, they got ousted by the Clippers. And honestly, they found ways to like lose certain games, and they lost the series in typical Dallas Mavericks fashion. And last year was no exception. So I was very flabbergasted to see Nick Wright picking the Mavs to win in 5. But I'm just so flabbergasted that Nick Wright picked the Mavs in 5 to begin with. It's like, why 5? Why not 6? Why not 7? It's like, that is the worst prediction he could have ever predicted. And honestly, I have no sympathy for him. I really was just, I don't know. It was just a bad prediction to begin with. And betting against Steph Curry is absolutely the worst thing you could ever hope for, unless you're like a really good team. But overall, it was just a bad prediction, and the fact that he picked the Mavs in 5, I'll give him this. He got the number of games right, but it was just a bad prediction overall, and honestly, I personally had the Warriors in 6. That was just my prediction for funsies, but I had the Warriors winning regardless. I would never, ever bet against Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or any of those boys. Like, Steve Kerr knows how to win games, and he is this generation's, I hate to compare them to this coach, but he's this generation's Phil Jackson. I really think Steve Kerr has come a long way as a head coach, and I really think he's done an outstanding job, and the sky's the limit with him. But as for Nick Wright, for predicting Mavs in 5, which is the worst prediction I have ever seen since probably Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith, you are this week's Dum Dum of the Week Award recipient.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
And that, my friends, is all she wrote. Don't get me wrong, I respect opinions, I respect bold takes, but this one was pretty bad. You don't bet against the Golden State Warriors. At all. The Warriors handled the Grizzlies, even though Ja Morant didn't really play. And overall, the Warriors were playing great basketball. They're currently playing great basketball. And now they're awaiting the winner of Miami and Boston, which, personally, I hope the Heat come out on top, but currently it's 48-46 in favor of the Heat as of right now. But that is going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Without any further delay, let's get on out of here, because I got to get me some dinner, because I'm starving. You dig? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I appreciate you all tuning in. If you you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any point, anytime, anywhere, I really do appreciate you. Big shout out to Jack Moon, Mike Pat, Adam Carnick, Davidson Cooks, and Marcus Vitale. He says, great show, bro. I appreciate you tuning in, Marcus. Definitely do check out Beat Sports Talk every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 2 Eastern time. Marcus does an outstanding job. It's absolutely amazing. Just definitely do listen in to Beat Sports Talk. For everyone here at IU Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. You all have yourselves a great weekend. Definitely check out volleyball action. I have to give out that volleyball plug. That's because there are 3 teams from Southern California that are playing in the NBA. Just saying, my man. Just saying, y'all. I will see you all Monday for Center Point. Until then, have yourselves a great weekend. Don't do anything stupid. Be a good person. Just be kind to one another. Just don't be a d-bag. Please don't. And I will see you on Monday for Center Point. Have yourselves a great weekend. Remember, SoCal is the SoCal. Peace!